Welcome to our U.S. briefing program. Today, we've got some fiery international trade tensions, sweet but costly chocolates, and a toy industry in a pinch. First up, Beijing is warning its trading partners not to cave into U.S. pressure to restrict trade with China. The Chinese government is standing firm, criticizing the U.S. tariffs and promising to take reciprocal measures if needed. Talk about a trade showdown. Next, let's talk about those tempting chocolates. Turns out, they're costing us a lot more these days. Thanks to climate change, especially in West Africa, cocoa prices have surged nearly 300%. This means higher prices for your favorite chocolates, with Valentine's Day and Easter treats seeing a big price hike. Companies are now exploring new ingredients and alternatives to keep the sweetness alive. And finally, the U.S. toy industry is feeling the heat from steep tariffs on Chinese imports, up to 145%. Toy stores are facing delays, higher prices, and empty shelves just in time for the holiday season. Industry leaders are calling for exemptions to save Christmas for kids everywhere. Please continue to watch for more details on these stories. According to CNN, Beijing has issued a stern warning to its international trading partners, cautioning them against yielding to U.S. pressure to impose trade restrictions on China. The Chinese Commerce Ministry spokesperson emphasized that concessions made at the expense of China's interests would be futile and potentially damaging, likening such compromises to asking a tiger for its skin. The U.S.'s recent tariff negotiations aim to isolate China's economy by persuading allies to restrict Chinese goods, prevent Chinese firms from establishing operations on their soil, and block the flow of Chinese industrial products, all in an effort to pressure China into concessions. China has resolutely opposed these tactics, vowing to retaliate with reciprocal measures if its interests are compromised, signaling a tense and escalating trade confrontation that could shape global economic dynamics. Al Jazeera details the dramatic rise in chocolate prices driven by a surge in cocoa costs, which soared nearly 300% last year due to climate-induced crop failures in West Africa. Extreme weather events, including droughts and floods linked to climate change and phenomena like El Niño, devastated cocoa plantations in Ghana, Ivory Coast, Nigeria, and Indonesia, leading to a significant shortfall in supply. Despite a recent partial recovery in cocoa harvests and futures prices, the ongoing climate crisis threatens to prolong volatility and elevate costs further. The impact extends beyond farmers and producers. Swiss chocolatier Barry Callebaut has slashed its sales forecasts amid price turbulence, and consumers face higher prices, smaller sizes, and a shift toward alternative ingredients and substitutes as manufacturers adapt to the unpredictable market. South China Morning Post reports on the U.S. toy industry's bleak outlook amid the fallout from Trump's escalating tariffs. With Chinese-made toys accounting for the majority of imports, the industry faces steep tariffs of up to 145%, causing shipment delays, skyrocketing costs, and the threat of empty shelves during the critical holiday season. Small retailers and large companies alike are struggling to cope with the uncertainty, with many delaying orders or raising prices to offset costs. The industry's reliance on Chinese manufacturing, combined with the complex logistics of re-establishing domestic production, makes a swift resolution unlikely. Industry leaders are pleading for exemptions, emphasizing that toys are vital for children's development and should be protected from punitive tariffs, as the prospect of a difficult Christmas looms for retailers and consumers. Al Jazeera reports on the controversy surrounding U.S. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, who shared sensitive military plans via signal chats. The revelations detail how Hegseth discussed planned bombing raids on Yemen, including flight schedules targeting Houthi rebels, with his wife, brother, and lawyer. The second chat, set up before his confirmation to coordinate with his inner circle, also involved high-level officials and was scrutinized for potential security breaches. The Pentagon dismisses the reports as old news, emphasizing that no classified information was shared, but the incident has sparked an internal investigation amid broader turmoil within the defense leadership, including the resignation of several aides and accusations of disarray under Hegseth's leadership. Critics, like former officials, describe the Pentagon's environment as chaotic, raising concerns about the handling of sensitive information and the stability of the department's leadership during a tumultuous period. Yahoo US discusses the ongoing debate over Minnesota's bonding bill, highlighting political tensions and the potential for compromise. With the legislature divided evenly between Democrats and Republicans, negotiations are delicate, especially after past failures to pass large-scale projects. Governor Tim Walz proposes a modest $700 million borrowing plan focused on infrastructure like highway patrol buildings, water treatment, and university maintenance. Meanwhile, Senate Democrats aim for a larger $1.35 billion bill, but both parties are cautious, knowing that only a limited number of projects will be approved due to budget constraints and the political landscape. Projects such as local water contamination efforts and the renovation of the Excel Energy Center are among the priorities, yet disagreements persist over the scope and funding, with some fearing that larger initiatives may be sidelined or require separate legislation, reflecting a cautious approach amid ongoing legislative gridlock. Semaphore reports on Nexstar's strategic moves in the media landscape, particularly its handling of a defamation lawsuit initiated by Truth Social against multiple outlets for misreporting its financial losses. Nexstar, owner of The Hill, was initially targeted but managed to settle and have its parent company dropped from the suit, possibly in exchange for firing a reporter. The company's broader strategy appears aimed at consolidating its influence and aligning its editorial stance with political interests, especially under the Trump administration's influence. Nexstar's leadership, eager to expand through deregulation and acquisitions, has made editorial changes at The Hill, including layoffs of staff covering sensitive topics, raising concerns about political bias and the erosion of journalistic independence. Despite denying political motivations, critics argue that Nexstar's actions reflect a willingness to shape coverage in favor of conservative and pro-Trump narratives, signaling a shift in its media strategy amidst a changing regulatory and political environment. The Australian Broadcasting Corporation highlights a burgeoning microcinema subculture that emerges as a counterpoint to the decline of traditional moviegoing, especially amid the rise of streaming platforms and the impact of COVID-19 restrictions. Indie filmmakers and enthusiasts are transforming unconventional venues like warehouses, community halls, and pubs into vibrant screening spaces, fostering community engagement and cultural exchange. Melbourne's Static Vision and Adelaide's Movie Juice exemplify this movement, organizing international tours, festivals, and screenings that bring niche and experimental films to dedicated audiences. These grassroots efforts aim to establish a national network of low-cost, community-centered cinemas that can sustain independent filmmaking outside the commercial mainstream, emphasizing the social and cultural value of shared cinematic experiences over profit. Deutsche Welle reports on the ongoing diplomatic and military tensions between Russia and Ukraine amid hopes for peace negotiations. U.S. President Donald Trump has expressed optimism about a potential deal within the week, hinting at future economic opportunities for the U.S. should peace be achieved. Meanwhile, the conflict continues with accusations from both sides of ceasefire violations during the Easter truce, involving drone and artillery attacks that result in civilian casualties. Zelensky's call for a temporary halt to long-range strikes reflects a desire to de-escalate the violence and create space for diplomatic dialogue, though mutual mistrust persists. Despite sporadic ceasefire breaches, the focus remains on the fragile prospects for peace, with international attention on the complex interplay of military actions and diplomatic efforts shaping the future of the conflict. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.